archives.
No. See, we're not gonna speak on the G. I mean, you want to really talk about the Jeezy versus
I mean,
Gucci?
I don't. The internet want to talk about it. To me,
Oh, they want to talk about it. Now
it
we can
wasn't
talk.
close. Ask me.
It wasn't close.
To me, Gucci has Gucci's argument for the battle, which was a valid one, was I've been relevant for longer. I have more current modern hits, and he's right. However, most of those hits are features.
Exactly.
They're not songs that people specifically know him for. So like Black Beatles, for example, was a huge international hit, came out with a meme, but most people don't think of him on that record, although he had a lot to do with it.
Okay.
But with Jeezy's hits from his first
mixtape,
first album, and then the Recession.
I'm gonna be real with you. After You Dig, after I think it was about the third or fourth song where Jeezy dropped that You Dig on him, it was over.
I won't call it that early.
It was okay. We're gonna compare this to a boxing match in a sense, okay? So we got these two middleweights. They coming out. They in the ring. They ready to go.
Yeah.
He strikes the first blow. Gucci strikes the first blow. Jeezy comes back with a counter.
Yeah.
Now about the third round, which is the third or fourth song, I'm gonna say, because it's about the third round, fourth round. Jeezy just dropped a haymaker on him. Staggered him.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Non-biasedly, Gucci has more hits. Jeezy has bigger hits. That's to me was the difference.
That's quantity does not measure up to the quality.
I agree, but to be fair, that's like when people say like, okay, hands down, Nicki Minaj is the best rapper of all time because she had more hits as a female artist. I disagree with that because although she had more, how many of them were songs that will be remembered? They were number one at the time. Right. But how many of them are you going to go and put them up in the Mount Rushmore of like, oh, this, I remember that came out. I remember why was that. You're not going to do that with Anaconda. Like, forget it.
Right.
So I feel the same way about Gucci. Like, Gucci has more hits. I don't think that's even an argument. I don't think you can. If you're a Jeezy fan, I think you'd be stupid to argue that Gucci doesn't have more hits. But I think that Gucci has more hits, but Jeezy's hits and Jeezy's albums were so much bigger and so much more impactful when they came out that you can't. I remember seeing the band The Snowman. I remember the day that I suddenly had to argue about dude and it never ended for like a year straight. I remember, I can't say, I remember when Lemonade came out. I remember when White Boy Wasted came out, but those weren't like staples in life that stopped. Like, oh, wait a minute, everything's changed. I've never felt that way about Gucci records. I can say that about Jeezy, and I was not a Jeezy fan at all. Matter of fact, me and you used to talk about Jeezy a lot.
Of course.
You always have been a Jeezy fan. I did not like him for a long time. I'm a big
Jeezy fan, because Jeezy was one of the coldest. He still is one of the coldest artists out there. You know what I'm saying? From the South worldwide. And he dropped, every time he dropped something hot. If we really get into it, we could. I mean, he just dropped a new one.
It was good. He stole my idea for the intro, by the way. We're gonna talk about that. I'll get back to that. I'm not even. I mean, do that yet. And leave that part in the interview, nigga. Don't edit that part out.
All right. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna arrange this shit for it to be right.
But Jeezy, for me personally, it's just me. I did not respect Jeezy as a artist. I say artist. I didn't say rapper. I said artist. As like, oh, you are art. You up here until he made the Recession. Now, he was hot already. He had classics already. But I didn't respect him as somebody who would have longevity until I heard the recession. I was like, okay, now he just went up a whole nother level. For Gucci, Gucci has never went up a level for me. The only difference is this a Zaytoven beat or is it not a Zaytoven beat? He's pretty much been the exact same artist the entire time. He hasn't expanded what he raps about, his delivery, his substance, much at all. He's featured with other people that I didn't expect him to, like using Black Beatles, for example, or Nicki Minaj songs. I think he got a Nicki song with Nicki. Like, he did features with people I wasn't expecting. But he was pretty, or Drake, he was pretty much exactly the same as he always is. Jeezy surprised me more than once. I can't ever say that about Gucci. However, I've seen Gucci in concert, and listen, when I tell you, that's when I gained the most respect for Gucci. I saw him perform, and he was turned up, and the crowd was all white. It's Lollapalooza crowd. I'm saying they was all white kids. And Kodak Brick, I'm talking about these motherfuckers knew every trap anthem he had. And then I was like, damn, he didn't back down for a minute. He did exactly the same set I thought he was going to do. And it landed. So I gained a lot of respect for him because that's when I realized, and his other thing on the Gucci side, Gucci has had many, 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 many people that he has brought into the industry. You can't say the same really about Jeezy. Gucci has offsprings all throughout the rap game, from 21 Savage to Migos to Young Thug, all these people, to Waka, all these people that he has brought, they wouldn't be famous without him. I can say that for sure. There's a lot of people that have been off of Jeezy, but
right,
there's not the direct connection. There's a direct connection. Like, Gucci made him famous. I can say that about at least 10 rappers. So there's a difference. As far as the battle itself, though, I think the problem was the battle itself. Gucci performed for Atlanta. Jeezy performed for the world.
For the world.
Gucci picked the songs that Magic City.
But see, yeah, Gucci went with most of the stuff that, you know, was like from mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Because the majority of the things that you hear Gucci on, you know, like you say, he's a feature, and that's what you always see from him. He's a feature on somebody else's hot song. You know what I'm saying? Which he's a great feature artist to have because he's gonna give you a hot 16, and then you can roll with it. But as far as, you know, with Jeezy don't really never have a lot of features. Because you don't need it. He carries a whole album by himself with no problem.
But here's the thing. Jeezy performed some of his biggest features. Gucci didn't, which I think was a mistake. Like, you heard the They Know remix by Jeezy. And everybody, at least in my circle, went crazy when he played. That wasn't his song. That was Shorty Low. Gucci didn't perform his biggest features, which I think was a huge mistake in terms of the battle itself. But also, Gucci didn't come to win the battle. Gucci came to call Jeezy as many bitches and hoes as he could in the album.
He just was trying to be disrespectful.
Exactly. He didn't come to win the battle.
You know what I'm saying? You just being disrespectful.
I understand.
You ain't really doing nothing.
I understand what he was doing, but I also disagree. I think that is going to backfire on Gucci, because I think that a lot of people who really agree with him, when they were forced to watch it in person, was like, he looked stupid. Even though he had a battle like that. That man put a hit on your life. Hey, we get that. However, my G, at this point, you either gonna retaliate or you should let it ride. Like,
I mean, that been over with. You should be ready for some other shit.
Yeah, like you should be ready to stun on him. You do have more current hits. You do got shit that came out last year and earlier this year. You should easily be able to say, I've been relevant for longer than Duke. But you can't, because you were trying to diss him more than you were trying to show how impactful you were. And that, to me, was his mistake.
Well, I mean, Gucci, Gucci Gucci's Gucci is okay. You know, Gucci dropped some.
No, he's cool.
He dropped some.
In all fairness, I felt the exact same way about Jeezy for a long time. I felt Shorty Red deserved the credit Jeezy was getting. I was like, his production is nuts.
I mean,
this nigga though,
Shorty Red, he gave Shorty Red his props every time.
No, he did. But I initially thought Jeezy was too repetitive. I thought Jeezy with the ad-libs and the taking breaks in between bars, that was a big no-no at the time. That was like, come on, what? Who stops in the middle of the verse to go, that's right? And who does this shit on every song? I initially was very opposed to Jeezy because of that.
Because his ad-libs. You had dislike for Jeezy because of his ad-libs?
No, nigga. He wrote it that way. I'm going to stop talking right here and say, ha ha! And then I'm going to start back up 5 seconds from now. Nigga, that takes no skill to do.
Ha ha!
But, as I said, on the Recession, he proved me the fuck wrong. On the Recession, he showed he was well-rounded. And to this day, Recession is one of my top 10 favorites. I've never went from hating an artist to saying he made one of my top 10 favorites all time. You're never going to hear me say, and by the way, Silk the Shocker redeemed himself. No, fuck that nigga forever. That nigga should just play basketball or so dope or make movies. You should do everything but rap, nigga. Don't ever fucking let me hear you on the microphone again. But Jeezy is the only rapper I've ever went from I hate this nigga to no, that's one of my top 10 all-time albums. So much so that the lead single put on with Kanye was like track 18 out of 19. Who does that? That's how good that album was. That one of his biggest records ever was like at the end of the album because he was like, nigga, I made a classic. And it was classic.
It's classic.
It was, I didn't think he could top.
Classic.
I didn't think he could top
Recession. TM103 was hot, nigga. TM103 was hot.
I liked certain songs off of 102 and 103. They all were hot. But 102 and 103, I had 1/3 of the album that I really liked. The other ones was like, I could take it or leave it.
But I mean
101, every single song.
Cause it was the classic. That was the classic album right there within itself. You know, everything on it was a hit. Without too many features.
Every single song. And I can say the same thing. And I don't say that again until Recession. Every single song on Recession, every single song on 101. He got some of my favorite songs out on 102 and 103, but it ain't every single song on the album.
Most of my favorites are on most of his mixtapes. You know, that's when you just hear his raw ability to just flow.
I liked Hypnotize, for example. I love Hypnotize. When I heard that shit, like, this shit, I command you niggas to give money. Hey, that shit is crazy. But if you ask me to name another song of the album, I'm gonna be like, is the song with Plies on there? Shit, I don't know, nigga. I don't know. Freak, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's a lot of material. You know what I'm saying? It's
no, so Jeezy, they both are phenomenal artists of our generation. They both are huge influences on the past and present culture. Because most of these niggas wouldn't be talking about selling drugs, and then the next generation became all the niggas who are using the drugs. And I think a nigga like Gucci got a lot to do with that. A nigga like Gucci, a nigga like 3 6 Mafia, like these niggas made that okay for these niggas to start to be rapping about doing Percocet and Molly's and shit for a future to make whole songs where that's the point of the song. It's because of people like Gucci, 3 6 Mafia, you know what I'm saying? Like they made that okay for black people to do that.
Exactly.
They're hugely influenced.
You know, just like T.I., you know, you know, it's a lifestyle. They just talked about the lifestyle.
T.I. is one of my top favorites. He's in there. But anyway, where do you want to actually start the actual interview?
All right, now you ready to start the actual interview and shit?
I done talk some shit. I'm warmed up.
That's what's up. All right, I already did a prelude for the intro. So once again, I want to welcome on the